And welcome back to GFF and Friends, the podcast. The podcast... Oh, I forgot to think of something. Oh, well, we'll just keep going. Hello! I'm Gay Fat Friend, a.k.a. Todd, your host. And joining me, as always, is my teeny tiny, adorable little husband, Rob.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Speaking of husband, let's just get right into it, shall we?
Right.
Big news. We've been teasing it for a couple of weeks now. But Rob and I are officially married.
Yes, we've been hitched.
Air horn, air horn, air horn.
Pew, pew, pew.
Now I hear what you're saying.
No, that was the rim shot. I was going for applause.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah.
All right, then. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I thought Todd and Rob were already married. Well,
seriously, hasn't that been like for a long time now?
we've been domestic partners for over a decade. For
Yeah.
pretty much since we met. We got legally bound.
Yeah, and we did that at the time. I mean, yes, we loved each other, but like for the most part, we felt a time crunch due to insurance purposes.
Also, marriage wasn't legal nationally.
Exactly. So
it was only legal in California
We
where
went
we
as
lived.
far as we could, given the legal limits at the time.
And everybody kind of at the time said that getting California married or domestic partner was pretty much the same thing. So we were like, well, we don't need to go to the trouble of getting fully married just in our state.
Yeah.
Let's get domestic partners so I can get on that sweet, sweet insurance.
Federal benefits, or federal rights, and then a recognition, and then
Hospital rights, that kind of thing.
So we didn't really like push it. But given the last election results, we felt a little bit of a time pinch to get this done.
Yeah, we were like, you know what? The world is going to be drastically different next year for the next 4 years, maybe for the rest of time. But we should probably go as legally deep as we can.
Yeah, we should at least get all the protections that we possibly can and make it as hard to undo as possible.
Yeah.
So,
but back to the original domestic partnership, we did it because I needed health insurance, and Rob had health insurance in his job. And so we did all the research. Well, we thought we did. And we got domestic partnered. And then
it turns out it was cheaper for Todd to just get insurance through the California Health Insurance Exchange.
I did Obamacare, yeah.
It was like literally a quarter of what it would have been to add him to my company's policy at the time.
It was insane. Like, so was your insurance just for you through that company? Mm-hmm. Free or very cheap?
No, I still had pretty, standard premiums, I would say.
That you paid?
That I paid. Like that, but it was a small company. Like it was a small business. So,
Yeah.
It didn't have the same kind of benefits that I later got accustomed to. But then I worked for another small business, though, that like when I started there, it was health insurance premiums covered 100% for me.
You're too far. You've gone too far.
Oh, sorry.
We got to finish one story before we tell another one.
So yeah, anyway, tried to add him to that first one, but it ended up being like basically 4 times what it would have cost for him to get it.
$500.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was crazy, and I don't think yours was $500. I think
mine
yours was
wasn't
maybe
that,
like
but
$100 or $200.
Mine was like around $2.
Yeah, because your company matched a lot of it.
Yeah, it was subsidized for me, but yeah, anyone else that I added,
But
I
then they're
thought
like-
it was going to be more of a price bargain, and it was not. It was just like, no, that's like the full human health insurance.
You're literally just
at this
adding
level.
a name and their full payment to it. And I was like, I am not, I mean, at the time I was, 31 years old. I was like, I don't go to the doctor ever, even when I get sick. It's very rare that I go to the doctor. I don't need regular health care as it is. I mean, I had already lived for 4 years without health insurance.
Well, and even then, also, like, at that time, your take-home pay was greater than mine. Even with me having insurance.
Yeah.
You were more liquid. Mm-hmm. And also, on paper, you made more money than I did.
Yeah. But yeah, so then, but I was like, you know what? I would like to go to a doctor when I'm sick. So let me check out this insurance game. And then, just to add myself to Rob's plan was $500 a month. Yeah. And I was like, that's almost double my car payment. That's literally like our rent, like half our rent at the time, which weren't the late 2010s or the early 2010s such a dream when it came to prices.
Crazy.
But so we got domestic partnered and then did not get co-insurance together. Yeah. But at least we were legally bound.
But but we really did nothing with it.
Yeah, there was no real reason for it past that.
Yeah.
Rob doesn't wear jewelry, so he never cared about a ring.
No.
And then, on our insurance journey, then you got a really nice job
Yeah, my next
And
job though had
they covered 100% of both of us.
Yeah.
We just got free health insurance completely from the job
yeah, which was amazing
for a while.
Yeah,
For
and obviously, and like as things
3 of the 5 years.
yeah, it was for most of it, and of course as things changed, like things get tighter, and you have to like honestly, and the contribution was still not bad. Like the contribution we were paying was nothing compared to what was asked of the previous place.
Yeah. Rob joined that company kind of at the height of the industry, or at least on the tail end of the height of the industry. So they were like, all your food is at work is covered. All your insurance will pay for it.
Yeah,
we're going to take a big company-wide vacation to Las Vegas every year. Like all this stuff.
It was a company, that valued its culture and put a lot of kind of money back into making sure that its staff was feeling comfortable and happy there, because it was a high stress job.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those where at least like the least they could do was make the experience there as pleasant as possible to sort of also drive creativity. You had to be sort of in a place where you were comfortable being creative all day and into overtime. So it was very much one of those things where like, it's people like to talk shit about the companies that have ping pong tables. Like that ping pong table got used and like literally, and it's one of those where like it's,
almost every time I would go visit you at work, someone was playing ping pong.
And it's funny, it was in an industry standard as well, because it turns out like every other kind of competitor that we had also had ping pong tables, because they did a sort of intercompany ping pong tournament at one point. So that was kind of fun. But no, like it's very much the hours are long, the stress is high, and so it's one of those where like you need to go to a place that kind of at least understands how to make it not suck so bad.
Well,
and that was one of them.
And also that job was, I don't know, I would say like 90% creativity. Well, in a lot of different departments, I'm saying like all the departments put together, it was like 90% creativity. Yeah. And yes, like free lunch and a ping pong table is kind of like workaganda, propaganda, but at a creative place, like you need those little outlets. Well, like didn't they have like pinball machines?
Yeah, now they have a pinball table. Or we had one.
Pinball table?
Yeah, you have a pinball table. That's what it is, not a machine. I always feel pinball table.
They're pinball machines.
I guess that's why I was like tables is. I feel like tables also valid on this. And
comment down below if you've ever heard of a pinball table.
Okay. And yeah, so like, but I think that thing's been like out of order for a long time. But yeah, it's like, we had like a cold brew keg, with like a tap.
Cold brew on tap. That was fun.
That was actually really helpful, and honestly cut down on my daily trips to Dunkin'.
They also had a built-in non-name brand flavored soda water machine, pretty much like LaCroix on demand. You could like flavor your own soda water, but it was free all day long in all the vending machines.
My current employer has that too.
Have you ever been to that office?
I've been there and I've seen it. I just don't take advantage of that because they also have soda in the fridge.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I mean, that was at the dawn of like flavored soda water though, too.
Yeah.
And it was cool that you could they didn't just have a water fountain. You could get flavored soda water.
Well, and it was great for me because I like bubbles. And so I didn't have to have flavor. I just wanted basically, club soda all the time.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to get like, I guess it was more seltzer because it was just carbonated water, but still like free carbonated water. Hey.
Yeah.
All the time.
And some snacks. Like they had Cheez-Its and mixed nuts and I think M&Ms in like little dispenser machines.
Yeah, like the little things like that you usually put like breakfast cereal in. And so it's like every single person who would ever come to visit would be like, oh, I want an M&M. And they would just twist it for a second. And then all of a sudden now there's like
a bowl full of
M&Ms that just hit the counter because no one really knew what they were doing unless like you had been there long enough to know how that machine worked. Mm-hmm. But I feel like every family member I ever gave a tour was like, ooh, M&Ms.
No.
Now we have to clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
I should have just not let people see that part. But, anyway.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's all in the past now.
Right.
And then your current job, insurance-wise, it's fully covered again, right?
No, I think I contribute.
Oh, okay.
But subsidized. It's normal.
Yeah. But now we're on a health savings account, which we've never done before. But it seems to be working out.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I got like a... it's not a statement of benefits or whatever, explanation of benefits, but I did see that I got like a partial bill for my colonoscopy, but it still says like insurance pending for a lot of it. So I still have no idea how much this colonoscopy is going to cost. Mm. But I'm taking my who, oh God, I forget. Someone gave me very sage advice that was always ignore your first doctor's bill. Like don't pay it right away. Just ignore it.
Yeah, that is valid, I feel.
So I'm currently in the ignoring the first bill phase because, I have no idea what insurance is going to end up covering and what we can take out of our HSA and all that stuff. So, but it's American healthcare system. It's all just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of waiting and a lot of denial.
Yeah. Anywho. But yeah, so
we're married. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got married in our living room by our dear friend Madison.
Whom I married earlier this year.
Yeah, Rob officiated her wedding in, what was that, August?
May?
September?
May.
Was it May? That
was
long
May.
ago? Jesus.
Yeah.
This year really flew by.
Yeah. Seriously, it's blinked and it was over.
Yeah. But yeah, Rob married Madison, and so Madison is also ordained, and she married us.
Yeah, she got ordained actually when I talked to her years ago about marrying us, and she did the same by asking me, and she got ordained immediately. I took forever, and then even then, I only got ordained basically in time to marry her.
Are you guys both the same place?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Universal Life Church, I think.
That's the one that you just go online.
Yeah, most of them honestly are like that. It's basically just you kind of find the place that vibes with where you're at. And I wanted to do the Flying Spaghetti Monster ordainment, but I want to say theirs is more donation based, and so I think it was like $50, and I was like, well, I can always get that one later. I can collect the ordainments. I can be ordained from many places.
Yeah.
And as much as I did want the identification card that came with the Flying Spaghetti Monster or ordainmentship, I don't know.
Ordainth.
Yes, ordained. Instead, I just went with Universal Light Church because it was the more standard one, and it was, and they also had a lot of really great resources to help guide the ceremony and stuff.
Yeah,
so. It's
so funny. Like we were literally like, "This is paperwork. We're not having a ceremony," and Madison was like, "I want to do it." And
yeah, so she was like, "No, don't take this from me."
Yeah, I wasn't hearing what she was saying for a long time. She's like, do you guys want to write your own vows? Do you want me to write vows? Do you want to just do generic vows? And we were like, we're just going to sign the forms and do this. And I was coming from a place of don't bother yourself, like don't go to the trouble. And she was coming from the place of no, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to be like, oh no, you don't have to go out of your way to do that. And she was like, no, I want you. You guys have to have a ceremony. So we're like, okay, so. We said our I do's in our living room.
Yeah,
and it was fun.
Her husband took photos.
Yeah. We got to get those.
We do.
We got to get those from him.
We do.
I do. You do. We do.
We do.
And then we went to a steakhouse here in Seattle and had dinner, and the servers and the manager stuff were really sweet. Everybody came by our table and said congratulations because we wore our tuxedo t-shirts.
We did. We were fancy.
I mean, we dressed up. And I got boutonnieres.
We had boutonnieres pinned to. We figured out how to pin boutonnieres to our tuxedo t-shirts. Boutonnieres are meant to be pinned to an exterior flap of fabric that is not touching the skin.
Without safety pins, like if you just use like penny pins, it's very hard to pin a boutonniere to a t-shirt.
Little nerve-wracking. Gravity is terrifying.
Yeah.
You are very much like walking, like you're trying not to move, to jostle too much.
It was hard to get it placed. It was hard to keep it upright.
Yeah, and especially like if you can get one up, great. They're not going to match between the two of us. They are cousins, not sisters.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it would be so easy to just pin a flower to your shirt, but they weighed 5 pounds apiece. Apparently, they were very heavy.
Well, it's like
and
tying a tie.
Center of gravity is nowhere to be found.
Like tying a tie looks so easy, and it's not because I can't even. It's funny when it comes to tying a tie. You've seen how I do it.
Usually takes like 3 or 4 tries,
but I can fake it, and it looks like I've tied a tie. I'm not even doing a half Windsor. I think what I'm doing is technically like a quarter Windsor because I fake a step. And I'm missing something vital, and that's why my knots are so weird. But I can actually do it, and it stays tied, and it doesn't look like just I did a around my neck and I'm done. So I go with what works. Yeah. It's not a clip-on.
Which, now that I think about it as an adult, clip-ons totally make sense.
Oh,
they were great when we were kids, and they make sense as an adult.
Yeah. Well, 'cause the biggest issue I have now is I keep doing that thing where I either, when I tie it, it either like comes to my like sternum, for the weirdest comical short tie, or it's to my knees, and I just I can't get the length right on the first go.
Well, for a tie to look right on me, I have to tie it so very close to the end with the little tail, and then to get around my giant neck and my tall body, I have a very long tie with the tiniest little tail behind it that I always end up scotch taping to the back of my tie. Because, like, I can't even really do a tie tack because it's too high. It would be, like, at my throat, and it would look weird.
And I like that's why you look nice in non-traditional dress clothes. Like, I feel like you still can dress up without wearing a suit.
I have to be a sweater guy.
Even then, I feel like you can even, like, wear stuff that isn't sweaters and you still just kind of look put together. But, like, because I feel like, I mean, even just your narration of when we went to Madison's wedding, I think, was about how, suits are the enemy of you because you look like you should be, like, preaching about the Lord or something.
Yeah, they're the enemy of the fat man and the tall man because the shoulders are always padded in every single suit jacket, but the bigger you get, the bigger the padding gets. So yeah, they give me this, like, giant squared off shoulder that it makes me look like a youth pastor, and I hate it.
Well, and it's funny because, like, I'm always really frustrated in suits as well because as much as I'm a smaller guy, I'm very squared off in the shoulders, and so the pads of the shoulders just build me out like a fucking linebacker or like a mafia boss. And I look like Kingpin from Spider-Man. I just look like a big wall walking around, and like I'm not shaped like that, I would like to think. And it always makes me crazy whenever I see people like, Jude Law or Andy Lau wearing these super fitted, like, triangular Italian suits. And I'm like, I don't know. I would have to literally have ribs removed.
Yeah.
to give myself...
To get that shape.
Yeah, because, like, I'm just broader than that. But I'm just, like, solid.
Yeah.
And suits just do everything to make it worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing too, is like, I want to look nice. I want to dress up and look nice. I like that feeling, but with my body, it just looks bad. I look like a substitute teacher or football coach. Like, it just doesn't work.
Right.
There's no, or I could go the, like, Andre Leon Talley route and wear muumuus or, like, gigantic flowing fashion-y clothing. But then that's not just traditional dress up. I want to be able to wear a suit to an office and do a thing. And I can't. It always looks off the rack.
I think maybe you should lean into Scottish kilts.
No, kilts. Fat guys in kilts? That's such a cliche.
Oh, fine.
Especially with white beards. Ugh,
oh, yeah.
That looks bad. I hate it.
But yeah, it's bums me out because, like, even like suits, I know, like, Justin Timberlake, not super hot to talk about right now with the tour being ruined. But, but, like, during his whole, like, suit and tie era where he was wearing nothing but Tom Ford, like, he wears a suit well.
Yeah.
If you took that suit and put it on me, it would look like just all of a sudden...
Potato sacks.
Yeah, just like... Well, I mean, just even if you had it fitted for me all of a sudden, it just wouldn't have that slim cut. It would just look like, honk, here's that guy who's made of a square.
Your chest is very wide for your body.
Yeah.
You're very bulky. Well, and yeah, it's so funny. I love being tall and I love my body because, can't do anything about it. But it is funny how much I daydream about just being like 5'9" and 150 pounds, and I just wonder what that life is like. The world is built for that body.
Oh, I can't imagine.
It's just like going through life not having to worry about anything. You're just 5'9" and skinny.
Right? I mean, like I don't want to say I can't relate to half of that, but yeah, the 5'9" part, no idea what it's like to have the world designed with you in mind.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I wish I was that. I want to know what it feels like,
right?
Because I haven't been 5'9" since I was 8, and I just wonder what it's like down there.
Yeah, I haven't been 5'9" since I've jumped recently.
You use a lot of step stools.
I know, but I was like, but 5'9" is very specific. It's 5 inches. Like, that's a very specific elevation to be up.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of just a little bit of a jump.
We were Christmas shopping today, and Rob reached to get something off of the top of a shelf in like a little gift shop, and I think he had to kind of like lean on the shelf a little bit to get this thing off the top, and the shelf was not very stable, and it wobbled hardcore. And I was like, just leave it. And he even just was like, hands off, backed up. He was like, whoa.
I did not put any weight on that thing at all, but like seriously, it was like Jenga taking something off of it. It was just like, well, no, that was a load-bearing product. It's like, you can't move that.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
But yeah, poor Rob's got to reach for so many things.
That's fine.
You're so far away.
I just saw a stand-up comic recently talking about how humbling the urinals were in Sweden.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I think he said if you're under 5'9" or under 5'8" or whatever. But it's funny because like he did not talk about the solution that I have had, not to get like, I mean, we've already talked about details of colonoscopies here, so we're friends. But there's a bar in Los Angeles that is, I believe, next door or 2 doors down from the Pantages. Wait, Pantages? That's the one on Hollywood, right?
That's the Broadway Theater.
Yeah, Pantages. It's called the Frolic Room. 311 has a song about it. It very much feels like the post-show, after stage show kind of bar hangout. Very cute. The men's room, like they've redesigned it since, because the first time I went there, though, the men's room was so poorly designed. There was a stall, which I think at the time was occupied, and then there was a urinal, and the urinal was super close to the door. So like, if you came in, like the door, if you were at the urinal, the door literally, if it opened too far, could hit you in the butt. And for me, the problem was, though, the urinal was literally installed so high on the wall. We weren't talking tiptoes here. This was not a tiptoe situation.
Yeah.
This was a stand back and arc situation.
Oh God.
No, it was like
Calvin and Hobbes style?
Like literally it was the only way I could use this toilet, because it was that like poorly, I don't want to say poorly mounted. I'm sure it was mounted fine. It was just mounted way too high.
Yeah.
For a person, and I was like, I'm 5'4.5". I'm not classified as any sort of, I'm not protected class based on my height. Like I'm just short.
Yeah.
Like I'm not super short. I'm just short. And so yeah, I literally had to like play it the whole time. I'd stand back in arc with one foot literally wedged against the door so the door wouldn't open, and like slam me or display me to the entire rest of the bar. But yeah, they've since redesigned that bathroom. It's not quite so terrible anymore, but that was something that I will always remember, and I've never felt like that in a restroom ever before. I've never been in a restroom I've been incompatible with.
Wow, that's crazy.
Until then.
See, I feel like I always end up like at the airport or the movie theater and walk in, and all of the urinals are full. Jesus, astrophysicist, that was hard to say. All the urinals are full except for the very low one that's for like children.
Oh.
And sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I do prefer that because of my height. Peeing in a urinal can sometimes have a lot of like awkward splashback, and because that one's low, I have to like angle down and the splash is different. So sometimes I like the short one, but usually like when I'll walk into somewhere, that's the other one left, and I'm like, damn it, come on.
Every urinal should have the treat of ice at the bottom of it.
Yeah,
like
right?
in a seafood restaurant. That's
Splash
just
guard.
a thing. Like it's just fun.
Yeah.
Also functional. Like I found out why that's
Helps
there.
with smell.
That's why. Like that's why I heard, at least. And yeah, but I also think it gives a goal, a focus, something to aim.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
But yeah, so off of the bathroom talk, back to marriage. We're married. And you can't really see it on the podcast, but if you're watching on YouTube, I am wearing a ring. We don't have like official wedding rings yet. We might get something to be like officially official, but I'm wearing my Taylor Swift bejeweled ring as my wedding ring.
Well, and we've also even had the discussion before of like, well, when it comes to wedding bands, do they need to match? Because we have very differing styles of what we like out of rings.
Yeah.
So I think even then we've kind of discussed it. It's like, no, you should be able to get what you want.
Yeah.
Like, it's so.
My one criteria back in the day, that this has gone away, but I wanted them to both be from Tiffany, but like you don't even really want metal.
Yeah, I think at this point I might be going for silicone just for the sake of something that I feel safe in, and something that's not going, because like my hands, I don't have the most like, I wish I had more manly hands, but I don't. And like I feel like my hands are delicate enough that when you put something at that kind of at that part of the knuckle, it gets real weird.
Yeah.
And so I need something that's going to be very
tiny
small.
childlike hands.
Yeah.
Tiny little man hands.
I have my mother's hands.
You do. But they're adorable and I love them. But yeah, obviously I want just like a traditional platinum band from Tiffany, and maybe one day I'll get that. But for now, I'm wearing my Taylor Swift bejeweled ring, which I've never worn a jewelry with stones of any kind before. This thing is stones all the way around. It's very sharp. I am very much having to develop a callus on my other two fingers just from it existing on my ring finger, because she's sharp on both sides. Like, I can't believe people wear jewelry like this. Again, it is Taylor Swift merch, so it's probably not like, if I got a diamond ring from Tiffany that was diamonds all the way around, probably wouldn't cut me or scrape me as much.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like, frankly, I've never, I just don't understand the appeal that much. It's not for me.
Of stones?
Yeah, like, and jewelry and stuff. I've never been that guy. The most jewelry I ever had was like in my face when I had my eyebrow pierced.
I was saying, you had a lot of piercings.
Yeah, because my eyebrow pierced and my ear pierced twice. Yeah. So I guess I had some metal in my face for a while, but like, even then, very, very simple stuff.
Yeah. I have always been obsessed with rings. Rings were like the first jewelry I had growing up. I think when I was in like junior high or something, we went to a shop on a field trip and I just got my first like silver little band, and that's all I've ever really liked is silver. That's the thing too, is this Taylor Swift ring is gold, and I'm like, this is the first gold thing I've ever worn in my life. I don't wear gold, but this is very cute and I like it and it fits. But yeah, normally I'm a silver gal all the way. And then I love a bracelet, but usually like a friendship bracelet, like a cloth bracelet. Like I've never worn a metal bracelet of any kind. And then I've got my Apple Watch,
which I only wear my watch when I leave the house,
which is rare.
Right? So yeah, like I've kind of lost the how used I got to.
Well, you don't have the tan line and you don't have the hair rippage.
Right, because I have enough hair coverage that you could really see where the watch ruined it for a while.
Yeah, because you also had a metal band that would rip out hair. So.
Oh yeah, the Milanese loop, as beautiful as it is, that magnet enclosure is a hair ripper.
Ripped hair out of my face before.
Oh yeah. Whenever I would just give you a hug, or especially whenever I would give him a hug, I'd usually put my hand on the back of his head, and I would literally just pull away with hair every time.
Oh. Well, on that note, we are married now, so we can use the words for real.
Yeah, but even then, no one was really getting weird about it anyway.
Yeah, no one was asking to see our papers.
Right.
We did not change our last names. We're keeping our last names.
No.
Although it's funny because Rob's last name starts with an O. And growing up, and still to this day in my family, my name is Tado, like just Tado, like Robbo Tado.
Yeah.
But it's funny that now I could technically be, you know how Beyonce likes to call herself Mrs. Carter? I could be a Todd O now. I could be an Undar.
Well,
I said it.
But then also it's funny because we always talked about how like we have the same middle name, and so if we actually had the same last name, it would literally just be the only thing that makes our names different is the first name.
First name, yeah.
And so that's just a little dangerous. So,
well, and a lot of people are just naturally hyphenating our last names now, which is fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Whatever.
But yeah,
don't call us late for dinner.
Yeah, we're officially legally wed, so now I can take half of everything. How do you take half of a person?
You get a quarter of a normal person.
Robbie,
I took a second to realize you meant half a person for me. I was like, oh.
Nerd. All right, well, let's move on to our final segment, shall we? Which is, What's Your Order? What's your order? This poor little handbook for the recently deceased box, she's almost completely empty. I don't actually remember what's left in here.
She's on her 8th day of conclave here.
Oh yeah, we watched Conclave last night.
Yeah, the vote is still out on her.
The vote is out. But Rob, it's your turn to choose. So why don't you pick something out of the box and let's talk about what our order is. And today's What Your Order is...
Celebrity chefs.
Yeah, celebrity chef.
Man.
Okay. We actually have a lot of opinions about a lot of this.
Right, and not to...
That's why I put this in the box.
Not to sound like Grandpa Simpson talking about the 20s or whatever, but they had celebrity chefs then back in the day when we were watching. I mean, I guess they still do, but like, man, remember when celebrity chefs showed you how to cook?
Yeah, remember when you could watch Food Network and watch someone how to make a dish?
Right. I learned how to peel garlic because of cooking channels.
Yeah.
Like, and not that that's like a crazy hard skill, but it's one of those things of just like, I think my family always bought garlic or the pre-peeled stuff for the most part. And so I don't think I really saw them do like the mash technique.
Right.
Whatever. So it's like, it's just, those things that you learn, like, anyway.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like all the celebrity chefs that exist today, even all the ones that have like the shitty competition reality shows, all started as just behind a counter cooking food on a show on Food Network or something.
Seriously, like Tyler Florence, like, now he does the great food truck race, but like, I loved Tyler Florence's show.
Yeah. I loved all of their shows.
Yeah. Like that was a good era for food TV, and like that was right when I had just gotten like my first job. I graduated from college, so I was like your standard like bachelor eating McDonald's, watching Food Network, and like taking notes.
Yeah,
and it was like I learned how to cook in my 20s from that.
For the longest time, Food Network was my background noise TV. Like I would put Food Network on and just let it play all day long while I did stuff. Like that would be on the TV, but now. It's too much of like Beat Bobby Flay and
such high
death
stress
in the kitchen and
like
kill your neighbor
or like a bar rescue with poorly scripted whatever. I give drinks to my friends.
That guy's like on History Network or something.
Well, I know, but I feel like they're still showing like bar rescue on Food Network and stuff, or at least I don't know. I feel like it's either like Cutthroat competition stuff. or
Cook to the death.
or like sting stuff, like sting operations.
Yeah.
You know, Food Network's become a very stressful
The
channel.
only time I was watching it was on Fridays, because that on Fridays on Food Network is Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives all day long. And so the only time you can see Triple D, it's marathoned all day long on Fridays. So that used to be when I would watch Food Network. But now I don't watch Triple D anymore because Guy Fieri made me mad.
Yeah.
But now we just watch America's Test Kitchen, which is a channel on Sling. We watch Sling now, and we just watch the America's Test Kitchen all day long. I do.
We're watching Bon Appetit for a while, all day.
Yeah,
as well.
Which is a good one. But America's Test Kitchen is the best because it's almost all just cooking, and that's all I want.
Yeah, highly instructional and super scientific, which I appreciate. It's and like they aren't going for entertainment over education.
Yeah. But okay, so celebrity chefs. I'm gonna have to do a top 3 because I just can't choose, and it's not fair, and it's different things for different people. You know?
Yeah.
So I'll
let you
top
take
3,
the lead because I'm like kind of blocked almost. I'm so excited, but yeah, keep going.
So my top 3. Well, I also have an honorable mention, but my top 3. So number 3 is Nigella Lawson. I just love Nigella. I could watch her all day long. I love all of her shows. She likes to do like I guess she started cooking in Italy when she was like in college. So she did this giant sit down show in Italy where it's all Italian food, but then she also does her like London shows. So
I mean, she started as doing like standard like British fusion kind of homey stuff.
But yeah, predominantly does English food.
Yeah.
And then my number 2 is Martha Stewart, which growing up, like Martha was everything to me because she was really all I had. If you didn't have cable, we had PBS like on the weekends would show cooking content, but otherwise you'd have to like search out Martha, and Martha was like the only thing you could get on like network TV. And I've always been obsessed with Martha, but her documentary really brought me back. If you haven't watched it yet on Netflix, watch her documentary. It's so good. She's so good. She's 100% real, which can come off as fake sometimes, but she's just Martha. And the older she gets, I mean, you know, she's a senior citizen now, so she's just like, fuck it, I'm Martha Stewart and this is who I am.
Well, it's funny because I did not grow up watching Martha Stewart at all. She was just a joke, or she was a punchline in my household. Like we just didn't. I don't even think I knew what she looked like, to be honest. Well, just because we saw a clip of one of her earlier shows today, and I had no idea what she looked like when she was younger. Because I'm only used to her from probably in her 50s, where she kind of got the shorter hair and became a little bit more buttoned down.
Yeah.
But like, I still didn't really appreciate her because she was just doing shit that my family didn't really value. But I have to say, her persona now, now that she's besties with Snoop Dogg, and now that she's served time, like Martha is fun and honestly,
she's funny.
Yeah, she's super charismatic and just having a blast. And she works hard and she looks fantastic. Like she looks better, I think, than she did like for a while. Like I think she's just living.
Yeah. And then my number 1 celebrity chef is Ina Garten. I love Ina. She's my number 1. I watch on YouTube a lot of clips. Like I'll just put on Food Network has like Ina Garten mega mixes that you can watch like an hour of different Ina segments. But Ina is one of the last cooking show people. Like she still does new episodes of her cooking show, just cooking in her Hamptons kitchen. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's just, she is my ideal like cooking show aesthetic. I love her life. I love her food. Like everything about Ina
her food is full of butter and cheese and like everything that you want.
And her theme song and her voice and the scripts of her episodes talking about her husband Jeffrey and
all her gay friends,
all the gays and everything. So Ina's my number 1 in every direction. I just love her so much, and I'm sad I've never had any of her food. She did like a line of freezer section stuff that I think I might have tried now that I think about it, but her freezer section stuff is gone. But yeah, I just love Ina and her lifestyle and her life and her food and everything.
Before you get into your honorable mentions, let me slide in. Just because at least I think one of your honorable mentions is going to be one of my top.
Well, yeah.
So, obviously, I agree with you on the Ina situation. She was going to be in my top, peeps, as well as Nigella. Like, Nigella is like how I learned how to like. Nigella is actually why I started drinking Guinness, because she made like a beef stew recipe that used Guinness and orange juice as the base, and I did that as well, and it was like super fun and delicious. But I like added some other stuff to it. But like it was at least a really good reason for me to get excited about doing something in the kitchen. And I had leftover Guinness, and so I started drinking it, and I was like, oh, I actually do like this, because that beer used to be very intimidating to me. But so she gave me my taste for Guinness, so I appreciate that. But like I love how just Nigella is so effortlessly sexy and fun in the kitchen. Like the best thing is how much so much of her stuff is like, here's my getting back from the bar snack, where like normally I would start this by doing garlic and onions, but peeling and chopping at this hour, no. Like she's just she like chops scallions with scissors into a pan. And so I love her for that. Giada De Laurentiis is probably one of my top, if not my number one, I'd say, when it comes to like TV chefs, just because like I watched her the most. But like Italian food is, I'd say, one of the most approachable, cuisines to learn. And also I'd say like most of her recipes don't use ingredients that I don't like. So like that was the thing where at least I felt like typically everything that she uses is kind of a certain sort of vocabulary of food that I very much enjoy, or at least would know how to substitute or leave out, or do what I need to do with it. And so like when I was learning how to cook, like I printed out so many recipes from Everyday Italian, and like we still make some of them now even, and so I'd say like Giada is one of those that like gave me confidence to go into the kitchen and do my thing. So like
so favorites. She's my honorable mention. Because we have interacted together on TikTok. She sent me a box full of her stuff,
which is very cool. I was so jealous.
And she follows me on TikTok, and I really love her TikTok presence. She always cooks with her daughter Jade, and they make fun little recipes, and she's funny, and I love Giada. Like I want to meet her so bad. But Giada's one of the only celebrity chefs we've actually eaten her food. I mean, her hand didn't touch it, but we went to her restaurant in Vegas, and it was delicious. It was really good. I'm bummed because
we wanted to get like the signature dish.
We wanted to get the Alfredo, or the pasta that's like tossed in a Parmesan cheese wheel. And they were out of the cheese wheels, so we didn't get to try it. But the rest of the food was amazing.
Oh, everything we did order was great.
Like a beautiful restaurant. It's all glass and it's facing the strip, and it's just highly recommend Giada's restaurant in Vegas. I think she has a new one, or maybe two more.
I think she has another one. And then also like we've enjoyed some of her Jodzi products as well.
Because she sent me all of her fun pasta and stuff, which was nice, and it was delicious, and we still have some. We have like the linguine or something. Like there's noodle shapes that we don't cook with. Or just don't think to cook with. Like we never get fettuccine. Like we don't really think of that. We don't do angel hair because you hate it.
Well, I feel like we'd rather make a sauce that like works. I feel like angel hair just ends up like thickening up into like this weird like kind of fiber optic bundle of stuff where it's like, I don't know. I feel like I never find the right sauce for angel hair.
But I have desperately always wanted to eat a celebrity chef's food. I mean, I guess we have, because we've gone to like Top Chef people's restaurants, so we've eaten famous chefs' food,
right? Like celebrity chefs. But if you want like television chefs, because have we eaten at any Gordon Ramsay places?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think I ever have. I don't find I think he's funny, but I don't watch any of his shows.
Like I don't
appreciate his celebrity, but I appreciate clips on TikTok.
I don't know how to phrase it, because like I don't dislike him. But I don't like him, but I don't want to say I don't like him. I'm trying to think of what to say. Like, I don't care about him? No, that sounds mean too.
He feels like a very acquired taste, and he's one of those that I haven't decided to spend the time to acquire the taste.
I think because I've worked in so many restaurants, the whole trope.
Abusive thing.
The trope of being a mean chef because you're the chef and all this stuff. It's like, you can run a very happy, delicious business without being an asshole.
Right,
like,
a little bit of a turn off.
You don't need to do that in the kitchen. And especially when it comes to him, it's all a show. He's like a clown. He's a chef clown. Pretty much. It's all a character. That's not real when he's like smashing food and saying it is raw,
which of course like didn't even see that episode. I've seen like one thing make reference to it, and now I just want to slam my hand in all food.
We do quote it,
making declarations of what food it is
every day.
Not that it's raw, but like this food is pie. Just whatever. Any other honorable mentions?
Well, sort of. Like another chef that I watched a lot growing up and kind of got back into, maybe even like during the pandemic and stuff, was Jamie Oliver. But apparently he's kind of problematic now too as a person, because he's super I don't want to say he's fat phobic, but he's super food judgy. And a lot of his persona is being like, kids are fat, and here's why you got to make your kids skinny.
Yeah, the healthy choices thing. His heart's in the right place, but he
has a lot of food shame.
Banging the drum a little hard.
Yeah. So there's a lot of food shame there. But I did love Jamie's content, especially his TV shows and stuff, back in the early 2000s. And then, is there anybody else I really love? I feel bad. I feel like I am forgetting someone.
Well, it's like on Food Network. I mean, yeah, they're all very much like a moment in time. But
I loved Rachel Ray when she first started, but poor gal, it's pretty much confirmed she's like a raging alcoholic now and has gone really downhill and is possibly like an Ellen DeGeneres type, like not fun to work for and work with. So
whenever I see her on TV, she just looks like she's having a rough time.
She's struggling. She's struggling.
But so yeah, I mean, like I only watched her 30-minute meals like every now and then. I didn't really want to make anything that she made necessarily, but I did appreciate sort of, that idea of like, get in the kitchen, do this thing. It's not that hard. Which at least it was fun to watch. And like, also like, I love the design of her kitchen as much as I would never, like on TV, it was just like, oh, it's like fun. It was like Sesame Street blew up in her kitchen.
It was very like children's show.
It was, I was like, I loved Rescue Chef with Danny Boom. I think Danny Boom is just dreadfully charming and very cute.
I'm gonna have to look him up. I don't know who that is.
I have a photo with him where I'm making crazy eyes, which is just embarrassing. He's very British, and
I know who I forgot.
And he would basically come to your house and teach you to cook something.
Oh, so it's just like one segment of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Basically, yeah. But I mean, like, he would come and teach you like, I guess full thing with sides and all that, and like a cocktail, and then send you on your way.
That's who I was going to say. My other honorable mention is Aunt Sandy, although she doesn't cook anymore. Sandra Lee. Sandra Lee is one of my favorite celebrity cooks. I don't even want to call her a chef. I don't think her food is chef food. But one of my favorite food celebrities is Sandra Lee.
Food entertainers.
Because there's always time for a cocktail.
Seriously.
And it's always cocktail time.
Well, and if you are looking for something fun, I don't know if everyone has seen this or not, but if you look up on Google, I think it's called Sandra Lee Induced Seizure.
You mean YouTube?
Is that what I say?
Google.
On YouTube. Thank you. Look up Sandra Lee Induced Seizure, and it is a supercut of many of her things saying "so delicious, so delicious, so delicious,
of her catchphrases.
So delicious."
Yeah.
And like just a lot of catchphrases, kind of in repetition, and they're very funny. But there's also another supercut that is a little bit more creating Frankenbites that make her sound kind of dirty, and that one's also very funny.
Yeah. But yeah, there's also this guy on TikTok that breaks down her old recipes from her show.
Some of them are so scary.
And how ridiculous they are. And like most of the time, it's just she's adding too much stuff. And he's like, why did you add butter again? You already did it. Or like, why did you roll that in cinnamon? You don't need cinnamon in this. Like, it's just so many funny things that Aunt Sandy did. And honestly, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, when I tried to like really dive into food content, and I was like, my TikTok is going to be a recipe channel. It's hard to find things to cook, things you want to cook, things that you can cook. Like, recipe content is hard. There's no wonder why Aunt Sandy had a cocktail segment in every episode. Well, and you got to fill that 28 minutes.
There's also a reason why all those shows also have food producers. Like, they literally have an entire team producing every step of that food alongside.
Yeah.
Like, that is
It is so hard to produce food content.
They make it look real easy, but like, there's so much
That's
coverage.
why I just do grocery content. It's so much easier, and I don't have to cook it. Let's just buy it.
Well, and I'm trying to think, like just for additional help, I'm sure Paula Deen was important for a while.
Well, yeah, but we don't talk about her anymore.
I know, but like we can talk about the butter.
Yeah, no, Paula Deen was huge for me. And like I have DVDs. Back in the day, they used to, much like music videos, docuseries, stuff like that, they would release the episodes on DVD like a season of The Simpsons, And so I have a couple seasons of Paula Deen on DVD that I have for nostalgia's sake, but she just kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Did I tell you that I saw that they have the DVD sets of America's Test Kitchen out there? I don't know I don't know if they're up to date, but there's a lot of them. And I saw them and I was like tempted, but I was like, we do have an entire channel of nothing but that. And there's a website where you can get all those things as well. But
a big one, Julia Child and Jacques Pepin, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere and all we had was PBS. And so they would rerun their shows on PBS a lot. So like my original celebrity chef, like TV chef people were Julia Child and Jacques Pepin. And Yen can cook. And you can too.
When I got my satellite dish, right when I like graduated from college and got my first job and all that. Ming Tsai.
Oh yeah.
Man, he's handsome.
He was I feel like a founding father of Food Network.
Well, and he was like a fusion guy because it was East meets West.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I watched a lot of his show too.
In a battle for the ages.
But also like his show though, it was like nothing he ever made I was comfortable making because like everything he did was just like, you know, here's like there's 6 sauces that go into this. And of course, I never did like the initial sauce shopping.
Yeah, yeah.
If I did, I would have been great. I would have been golden. But
We do
instead, I
now.
just watched. But
that was kind of a fun thing about the pandemic. To be like, should we finally buy a bottle of sesame oil? Should we get rice wine vinegar? We have all of the sauces.
well, and one other chef that I really liked watching was Anne Burrell back in the day as well, which I think I've heard she's kind of problematic too.
She was another
You kind of tell, I guess, from the show.
I
don't
do
know.
like some of her recipes. I'll say it. I don't like that she's a has-been because she never identified as bisexual. She was a lesbian, and then she just randomly married a man. But also, you could totally tell that she has an air about her of trying to kind of be a little Gordon Ramsay-ish. Like she had that show where she was mean.
Yeah.
But then her cooking in a kitchen, her recipes were great. She's a little fast, but I did like her recipes, but her personality, I think we would clash.
Oh yeah, no, agreed. But that's right. I did love her recipes though, and also there was something comforting in the fact that like she had clearly some time spent in upstate New York, and I think she's actually from there. I looked it up.
Yeah.
Because she says Earl instead of oil, but I'm pretty sure she can say oil if she wanted to, but like she still says Earl.
Well, and also Earl is a Southern pronunciation.
It's like my mom always says it was very much an upstate New York thing.
I didn't know that.
Like, because my mom grew up there, and then I looked it up, and is I want to say either from the same city as my mom or like nearby.
That's fun.
So yeah, so it's one of those upstate New York things in that case.
But I think she does like Worst Cooks in America still.
Does she? I wasn't
She
sure if
was
she still
the host of
was
that for a long
Yeah,
time.
I'm not sure if she's still a coach on that or not.
Yeah, I think that's her like only connection to Food Network now. I think that's the only thing she does. But yeah, you know what? I'll say it. I've never been into the Bobby Flays.
No.
Like I would watch his show if it was the only thing on and I needed to watch a cooking show, but like I don't really care about his recipes.
Well, I like all the ladies, honestly. Like I love Alex
Same.
Guarnaschelli.
Yeah.
And even like Kat Cora. Like I actually watched a lot. I mean, like
I never watched Iron Chef.
Yeah, she mostly did Iron Chef, but like I liked her stuff on Iron Chef.
Because I've probably watched 5 full episodes of Iron Chef my whole life. Because I don't really like food competition like that. I like Top Chef. Like
Yeah.
Top Chef is one of our favorite shows. But Iron Chef I don't like because I knew from the beginning that Iron Chef was like super fake, you know, or
Yeah.
there's a lot that happens off screen that they do not show you. That, you know, they make this, they're like, your ingredient is salmon. And then they make 17 dishes all with like crazy things. And I'm like, they didn't just point that out to people.
Well, I think
they had a heads up.
I think I got to see Kat Cora really do her thing when she was on a show where she was competing in like a season.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I want to say it was
She
like.
did Top Chef Celebrity or whatever.
What did she do? Top Chef Masters? Was that it?
Yeah.
Cause I feel like I got to see her in a
think she
different
did.
context, and it was really great. Much like the woman from Border Grill.
Yeah. Susan Vinegar.
Yes,
I love her.
I love Border Grill.
I was gonna say I've had her food. Also, she invented La Brea Bakery, so we've had her bread.
I bought so much La Brea Bakery bread.
Right, but I feel bad because she was partnered with another problematic who has completely disappeared, Mario Batali.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny that we have problematic chefs. Isn't that crazy?
Honestly, it's such an abusive field.
Yeah.
Like I feel like,
celebrity in general. You
Yeah.
can just do it when you're
Yeah.
famous, as they say.
but I feel like chefs have some of the biggest egos and are some of the meanest people out there.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
add celebrity to it, and you get the extra level of kind of Hollywood.
Well, and he was one of the chefs that actually bridged celebrities because he partnered with Gwyneth on a cookbook. He was really good friends with the Gyllenhaals, and the Gyllenhaals were on his show all the time, and he cooked with them all the time.
Oh, wow.
So, like, he was one of the first chefs that, like, bridged actual celebrities with cooking.
And he had his own show, and he had Mozza as well.
Yeah, which is still there. You
Yeah,
can,
Mozza's
you
still
can
there.
eat his food, and I'm sure he's still, you know, paid by it. Like, I don't think they bought him out or anything. but-
Yeah.
He was also one of the first big like restaurant location celebrity chefs doing like fine dining in Vegas and in LA and stuff like that. From Food Network, not like famous chef in general, like Balthazar and stuff like that. But so yeah, those. So mine was what?
Nigella. Second
Martha,
one. Yeah, I was
and
like,
Ina.
Ina.
I was like, and then honorable mention, Jada. What was your top 3?
I'd say my top 3 are probably like Nigella, Jada. Well, Jada's number 1, I think. Probably Nigella number 2. And then, yeah, like number 3, it's like, it's weird. I kind of just have like a mishmash of like the rest of the shows in my head in there.
Well, you
like,
said Ina, so.
Yeah, I do love Ina. And I've made some of her stuff even. Like,
yeah, we made her mac and cheese for $100.
God, that shit was expensive.
It was the lobster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love celebrity chefs.
Well, I mean, but even then, like Ina Garten's mac and cheese didn't have like $45 worth of cheese in it. Like,
yes.
The lobster was the most expensive part, but like the other half was fucking cheese.
Yeah, because we got the stuff she recommended, which was like the name brand fancy Parmesan.
It was just 4 expensive types of cheese.
And you only needed like half the brick, and you couldn't buy half the brick. And so we had a lot of leftover cheese.
Which, you know, boo-hoo,
and then
we figured it out.
Randomly 1 Roma tomato just on top.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I could do a deep dive celebrity chef podcast. I'm sure there already is one, but like every episode a different celebrity chef and just talk about their life and times.
Right? Because even then, like,
I'm
there's so
sure
much
people already do that. But
it's weird how much I know about Jada De Laurentiis. Like, it's just weird how much I know. Like,
right?
She's a chef.
They are true celebrities.
Like, I know the name of her ex-husband, and I know what he did.
Well, it's because it's my name.
But also, I know what he did for a living.
Yeah.
Like, why do I know that?
She is, I guess, for lack of a better term, she is a nepo baby.
Yeah.
1 foot in the door and so much more.
But like, I don't know. At least I feel like whether or not she earned her initial time, I do feel like she's at least earned her empire at this point.
Yeah, and she's, like I was saying earlier, I'm really obsessed with Gracie Abrams, who is J.J. Abrams' daughter, but she's like a huge pop star right now. And she's freaking talented. That's how you do nepo baby, okay? You cultivate their talent into this like amazing performer because she's so good. That's the kind of nepo baby we want.
Yeah,
one that can back it up with the talent, just like Jada.
We can still be frustrated about being born on second, but at least like, you know, at least you didn't sort of just crawl to home and we all had to celebrate anyway.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's Celebrity Chef. What's your order? I'm happy with it. I like it.
Right.
And that's the episode. We're married now. It's official. You're not going anywhere, Rob. Stuck with this.
Wow.
Forever.
Never thought I'd have the old ball and chain, but here we are.
Now get out of here. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching on YouTube. We are taking Christmas off. Next Wednesday is Christmas Day, and there will not be a Gay Fat Friend and Friends episode coming out that day. We're taking 1 week off. Because, you know, Rob's mom's coming up here for the holidays. We got a lot of shit to do. She will be here when we normally record. I've got a lot of work to do. Rob's got a lot of work to do. There's just too much stuff to do. So
yeah.
we're taking Christmas off. Spend it with your families.
And as dynamic and wonderful as my mom is, because seriously, she's fucking cool. Yeah. I don't think we're going to have her be a guest.
Yeah. So we're no episode next week, but we will be back for New Year's Day with a very special episode of The Same. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and listening and subscribing and all that good stuff. And we'll see you on the next episode. We love you. Goodbye.